Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Noelle. Thank you for clicking on today's video. This week I'm going to be filming a video all about how to get into modeling, including a story time of how I got into modeling and how I got signed with Wilhelmina Models. If you've never been here before, my name is Noelle. I'm 18 years old and I've been modeling for about 3 years. So I'm going to be explaining my personal experience getting into modeling, how it worked for me. I'm also going to be including like a beginner's guide to modeling and explaining the whole process. I get the same question all the time, which is, how do you get into modeling? How can I get into modeling? Where did you start? Do you apply? Did you get scouted? How does it work? What are the best agencies? How did you do it? How did you get into modeling? I get these questions every single day in my DMs, messages on TikTok, every single day. So I decided just to sit down and film the video. To be honest, I have been putting off this video just because there's so much that goes into the process and there's so much that I don't want to forget, and I don't want to make this video and look back and watch it later and be like, oh my gosh, I forgot to mention this huge part of modeling, or I forgot to mention this huge part of the process and how to get started. And I don't want people to watch this video and feel like they don't know enough. I'm finally doing it though, and I'm here, I'm ready to teach you guys, okay? So I'm really quickly just gonna explain how this video is gonna work. I'm gonna start by explaining my story with modeling, how I got started in it, how everything worked out for me. And I just want to start the video off that way because that's the question I get all the time, every single day. So I'm gonna answer that part first and explain the story. Then for the second portion of the video, I'm gonna go through each step of how you apply, tips and tricks, things to know, just the little steps and all the beginner things that you should know. And it's gonna all come together at the end, but you gotta keep watching to see how. Okay, so let's start with me and how I got started, because again, this is a question I get every single day, so I just want to sit down and answer it for everyone so you guys are clear and so that you know. So there are two ways to get into modeling. Number one, you get scouted, meaning that an agent or somebody that works for a modeling agency sees you out in public and thinks you'd be a great asset for them and comes up to you and offers you a contract or tries to convince you to sign with them or meet with them in person. Obviously, you have to be careful because some people aren't legit and they're just saying that. There's some weird people out there. So I'm not saying that people that approach girls are always legit, but that is one way that you could get signed to modeling agencies. You get scouted. That's the first way. The second way is you apply. So this is an option open to anybody. I feel like a lot of people think that you have to meet these insane requirements to even apply, which is not true. The industry has changed so much even since I started, and I've just seen so much change in, you know, how much more inclusive it is. It's not so strict anymore, and there's not so much pressure to be a certain height and a certain size and have certain measurements. Obviously, it's good to be in shape, and it's great if you're tall and have features that stand out, but that's not a requirement. So I just want to make that clear to anyone that is already like canceling it out because they think that they wouldn't be good enough or that it wouldn't work for them, because you don't know until you apply. So those are the two ways that you can get started. Now I'm going to explain how I got started. I think I've explained this story one or two times somewhere on my social media, either YouTube or TikTok. At this point, I can't even keep up with my own social media, so I don't remember, but somewhere on my internet life I've explained this story. When I was younger, I would get scouted all the time. I always had like random agents coming up to my parents asking if they could sign me, especially for acting and commercials and stuff like that. But I was a really shy kid, so I never considered modeling as an option for me, just because I could barely talk to kids my own age, let alone be in front of a camera. That's probably the last thing that I wanted to do. So it just didn't work out for me when I was younger, and I could have probably been a great kids model, but it wasn't something I wanted to do, and my parents never pushed me to do anything I didn't want to do. I was playing sports, I used to play soccer, and that's what took up a lot of my time, so I didn't consider modeling as a serious option for me. I started getting really tall, so naturally I was still getting scouted as I was growing up, and I was still saying no to my parents, like, no, don't call them back. No, I'm not interested, I don't want to do that. Honestly, it was more that it was just too much work and I just didn't like really want to even try. I would say when I got to probably 14, when I was like a freshman in high school, I started to kind of consider it, and I was like, okay, maybe it's something I could do, maybe. And around my sophomore year, I was like, okay, like maybe I could actually do it. Like, I think I'm confident enough. I think I have a good look, but I never was serious about applying. For me, like, it wasn't something I just cared enough about, which is crazy to say now because, like, I don't feel that way at all, but back then it just didn't seem like something I really cared to do and really wanted to try to do. So it was in my mind, and it was, you know, something I had on my list, but I wasn't super serious about applying. Fast forward to my sophomore year summer going into my junior year of high school. I was at a friend's house, and I remember getting a call from my mom, and she was like, I just submitted your photos to a modeling agency, and like the first or second, I forget what it was, but she said that the first or second agency that she submitted them to wanted to see me right away, and that I should be ready to go to this appointment, and it's going to be in a few days, and they want to see me immediately. And I was like, Mom, hold the phone. You sent my photos to an agency? Huh? I can't act like she's crazy because we had been talking about submitting my photos to an agency and applying online, which I will explain after the story how to do that. But we had been talking about it, but it wasn't something that I thought we would do anytime soon. So she applied for me, and I actually thank her so much to this day for doing that, because I would probably have never done it, and I probably would have never taken it seriously or even tried. So also, mind you, the photos that she submitted to the agency were like horrible iPhone, Instagram pictures that were so blurry, horrible quality. I had no idea how to pose. I wasn't even aware that these were going to an agency. They were not good photos. Fun fact, I'm still signed with this agency to this day. So it comes time to meet them in person. Obviously, I'm like a little bit nervous, but I can only control what I can control, and the rest is in God's hands. I prepared myself for the meeting, put myself together, and I went to the agency in person with my mom. Also, for age reference, I was 15 at the time. Went in person, met them, and right away we hit it off pretty well. They were immediately such comforting and welcoming and inviting people, and I felt like it was a great match. That's another thing that I want to talk about, is finding an agency that's a great match. I'll explain it later. Okay. We end up really clicking. At this point in my career, my mom is very involved. I'm only 15, so I can't legally do much on my own anyways. They end up saying, okay, we want to offer you a contract. We want to sign you today, right now. So at 15, I signed with my first modeling agency. Now, fast forward a year later, I'm 16. I'm working with my agency that I signed with, and it's been great. My agents are amazing. I turned 16, I'm obviously getting older and more, you know, serious about my career, and my agent said, okay, I think it's time for you to meet with some other agencies in LA, because a mother agency places you with other agencies. Again, I'll explain that later. So once I was 16, I took a day, and my agent set up a bunch of meetings with different agencies to meet with in LA, and I think I met with 3. Basically, I met them all in person, and we were just kind of shopping around for a different agency to be signed with in LA. So I met with a few different agencies, and I ended up actually getting a contract that day. So I signed with an agency in LA. I had still been signed with this agency in LA. Fast forward to summer. Every summer, my family likes to take a trip to Florida. It's like our annual thing. We always go. It's our favorite vacation place. Miami, Clearwater, Key West, all those places we love going. I was taking my annual trip with my family to Florida, and I let my mother agency know, hey guys, I'm gonna be taking a trip to Miami over summer. If you want to set up some meetings out there with me and some agencies in Florida, I'll be out there, just letting you know. And I'm out there with my family, and obviously I'm still trying to have fun and spend time with my family, but I'm also there for work. It had been on my goal list to get signed in a different state, and I meet with a few different agencies in Miami. I met with Wilhelmina and a few other agencies, and keep in mind, Wilhelmina Miami was like my dream agency. Like, seriously, Wilhelmina in general as an agency has always been the best agency to me, and I've always like made it a goal to get signed with them someday, and the fact that I'm even signed with them now is insane. Not that I didn't think I was capable, but it's just such a dream come true, and I'm so proud of myself for getting there, and I'll explain all those steps. But so I ended up meeting with Wilhelmina Miami over summer on that Florida trip. I also met with a few other agencies. Every agency I met with on that trip was amazing, and they were all super nice. We're full of great teams and great people and amazing agents. But when I met Wilhelmina Miami for the first time, I immediately fell in love. Instant match, instantly we all clicked, all the agents and I, and it was immediately a yes for me. After a few days, I meet with the other agencies and I call my mother agent and I'm like, okay, I am in love with Wilhelmina. Like, I have to be signed with them. And she's like, okay, well, great news. They want to sign you. And I'm like, I just start bawling. Like, I literally just started bawling my eyes out in the car because I'm like, there's no freaking way. There's no way that they want to sign me. Like, this is insane. So I get the paperwork. They send over the contract. We print it out, fill everything out, scan it, send it back to them. And I flew home being signed with Wilhelmina, Miami. The story is still something that gives me chills because like that was such a surreal moment in my career and will always be really surreal for me because that was something I always dreamed of when I was younger and always wanted to do. When I was like 14, 15, like when I just started getting into modeling, Wilhelmina was like, it's just one of those moments in your life that never get any less surreal and never feel any less cool because you just can't believe that it happened, and because you can't believe that it happened. So at this point in my career, I am now signed with Wilhelmina, Miami, which is insane, but I'm not 18 yet, and there are a lot of holdbacks or setbacks when you are a minor because just with so many, you know, obviously horrible instances in that industry with minors, there are a lot of restrictions and a lot of things that you can't do unless you are of age, unless you're 18. So for me, I was able to work, but I wasn't able to work as much as I wanted to. So turning 18 was like a huge thing in my career because I knew that I could finally start booking with clients that I really wanted to book with and would be able to make the most of my look and my potential. So the agency I signed with when I was 16 that I had still been signed with for this whole time, we just didn't really mesh well, and it just wasn't a match, which happens. And that's nothing personal, that's nothing against the team there or the agents, it's nothing personal with us. Okay, really quick, I wanted to come back in and make sure to explain this properly. I feel like I made it sound a lot worse than it was. We're still on great terms. It was nothing about how we got along. It was just on a business standpoint. It didn't make sense. That's it. So my mother agent and I sat down and talked, and we came to a mutual decision agreement that I should try and see if I should sign with Wilhelmina LA. It's best if you can be signed with the same agency in every market so that they can all kind of connect. They don't have competing clients or anything conflicting, and it makes it just a lot smoother and easier if you're signed with the same agency just in all different states. So that's kind of what we wanted to do, and so she set up a meeting with me for Wilhelmina LA, and so we went and had a meeting. I took some digitals, talked with them, really got to know the team there, and they offered me a contract that day. So obviously I accept the offer, sign the contract, send it back, and am now signed with Wilhelmina LA and Wilhelmina, Miami. That's how I got signed with Wilhelmina. Please keep in mind that this entire process happened over the course of like 3-ish years. Throughout this entire process, I was learning new poses, learning my angles better, learning how to talk to people, learning how to be more social, have social skills, do well in meetings, do well under pressure. Like all these things and all these little skills that help me get these contracts are things that I gained and learned over the years and as I grew older. So I just want to like make that clear. I feel like since I'm explaining it in such a condensed version that it may sound like or seem like this happened so quick for me and it was just like such an easy process, but there's so much more that comes with it. So fast forward to now, I'm still 18, I'm still signed with Wilhelmina, Miami and Wilhelmina LA, as well as the mother agency that I've been signed with throughout this entire process. So now we're gonna get into the beginner's guide, everything you need to know, and explaining all the little parts of the story that I said I would explain later. We're gonna do that now. So the first part is a mother agent. What is a mother agent? I keep talking about this mother agency, mother agent. What does that mean? A mother agency and a regular agency are different. A mother agency basically acts as your second mom in modeling. They help you get started, they help you build your portfolio, they help you with test shoots, kind of just getting you out there, making a name for you, getting you started. They kind of just help manage you in a way. They act as like someone that you can always go to for advice. They take a lot of the stress off of you and they kind of like take matters into their own hands, which can be so helpful in certain circumstances. In most circumstances, it's nice to have a mother agent because they can take a lot of pressure off of you and handle things for you. A lot of people ask like, Do you have to be signed with another agency? Is it like a requirement? Do you need to? Can you freelance? How does that work? So you don't have to be signed with another agency. A lot of girls are just signed with a regular modeling agency, which just books you work and that's it. If you're asking, do I recommend signing with another agency? 1,100,000,000% yes. I recommend signing with another agency because they just handle so much that you really just can't handle on your own. And especially if you don't have help in your career. I've had a lot of help in my career with people that have guided me and helped take care of things and have helped manage me, but I know for some girls they do everything on their own and that's not easy, and there's already enough to handle as a model on your own, so having some help doesn't hurt. Their main goal is to place you with other agencies. So my mother agent wants me to meet with agencies in LA so that I can get signed, but she still has me signed under her agency. Makes sense, hopefully. And the mother agency will still get a part of your commission from your other work that you book with the agency they place you with. I think I kind of explained it enough. A mother agency basically just helps you get on your feet, helps you kind of build who you want to be as a model, get your portfolio started, kind of develop you, and just get you out there. Now I'm going to explain how do you submit and how do you apply to an agency. Basically, what you're going to want to do is get digitals. Digitals are very simple, clean photos of you. You want to do some in a bikini, you want to do some in just like a simple black top like I have, and like black jeans and heels. Digitals basically are what you're going to use to submit to an agency. I will insert some photos of digitals here. Pretty much photos like that. Nothing too crazy. You want it to be very clean, very simple, just showing your look. So once you have those photos, you're gonna go on to whatever agency you'd like to apply to and go on their website. I believe on like most front pages of agencies' websites, they'll have like a submit here button or apply here button, whatever, and they all have online applications available. You can easily apply online. I would recommend applying to as many as you can because obviously you're more likely to get a yes. Go through, find a bunch of agencies and go on their website and find the apply here or submit here button. They're gonna ask for just basic information like name, height, measurements, age, and then you can attach your digitals at the bottom. That's just in general. I'm not, you know, basing it off of a certain agency's website, but that's generally what they're gonna ask for. And then obviously your email or phone number or some type of contact in case they're interested and want to sign you. It's obviously different for each agency, like where to find that button or how it works, but in general, that's what you're gonna do. And like I said, apply to as many as you can, but don't apply unless you do your research. I really recommend to take a solid few days or maybe a couple hours and just sit down and really research like the type of agency that you want to be signed with, because there's many different agencies. Some agencies represent a very wide range of girls. Some agencies represent influencers and models. There's so many different agencies, and when girls say like, oh, I'm not tall enough to model, or oh, I'm not skinny enough or whatever, like that's not true by any means, because there's so many agencies now, especially with modern times and how the industry has changed so much. There's so many agencies tailored to different looks and that like different looks and that like unique looks. We also need to talk about finding a good agency that has your best interest, because this is something I want you guys to be very careful about if you are going to get started. Is make sure your agency is never pushing you to do things you're uncomfortable with, is always wanting you to better yourself in your career, and just in general has good vibes. Your goal should be to find the best agency that's comfortable, doesn't push you to do things you're uncomfortable with, and wants the best for you. Now we're going to talk about agency visits. So an agency visit is basically just when you go in person and meet with an agency. Let's say for anyone that's applying, you submit it online and the agency is interested and wants to see you in person. Usually they'll set up a time for you to come in that you'll meet with them. So for an agency visit, the agents there just kind of want to get a feel for how you are. You're just going to kind of explain, you know, your modeling goals, and they might ask you a few things about yourself. The purpose of the meeting is just for you guys to get to know each other and to see if it'll be a good match. So for the agency visit, you're going to want to come in an all black outfit, black heels, simple, slimming, flattering. So they'll always take some photos of you just to like keep your look in mind when they're going back to talk with the team. That's pretty much it. And if it ends up being a good fit and the meeting goes well, then they'll most likely offer you a contract and either call you back or email you or whatever. But that's kind of how that goes. Now we're gonna move on to once you're already signed with an agency. The main thing that we want to work on as a model, that we're always working on as a model, is our portfolio or our book. A book is basically like your online collection of looks. So it kind of is to sell you as a model to clients. An agency's goal is to book you work with clients. For example, a client would be like Target, Lululemon, PacSun, brands basically that you are going to work with. In general, your book is going to consist of a lot of different looks, a very wide range of looks. It could be like high glam photos, beauty photos, headshots, high fashion, runway type photos. My book also has sports photos, activewear photos, tennis photos, but then I also have beach photos. Like, it's just going to be a wide range because it shows you in different settings and how you can model. It kind of gives the client an idea of how you would look in their ads or in their work that they want to book you for. That's your portfolio, that's your book. And even when you're signed with an agency and you've been modeling for a while, you're still always working on your book. So let's say I already have my book made and I already have a lot of photos done. I'm still adding to my book every time that I do work. So how do you build your book in the first place before you start working? How do you even get the photos of you doing all these different things? Well, the photos are from test shoots. What are test shoots? So test shoots are a win-win exchange between you and a photographer. There's no pay involved. The entire goal of a test shoot is for you to get photos for your book so that your agency can sell you to clients, and for the photographer to build their book and sell themselves as a photographer showing girls that they've shot. But it's kind of a situation where you guys both benefit from it, so that's why there's no money involved. Basically, a test shoot is just where you and a photographer meet up. You guys can agree on a few different looks that you want to shoot. Looks means like different outfits in different settings and stuff like that. It could be for a few hours and you'll just shoot different looks, and then you'll get the photos back and then give them to your agent, and then they will add them to your book. And you pretty much just keep test shooting with different photographers for honestly a long time, and then you finally start to develop a book, and then that's when your agency really starts submitting you to clients. That's when you kind of start booking work and working as a model. So I think that pretty much covers it. I just want to say that anybody that's considering modeling, seriously, go for it. I know sometimes our own insecurities and confidence levels can deter our goals and things that we want to do, but seriously, for modeling, I really encourage anybody that's interested or anyone that's ever thought about it to just apply. The worst that can happen is you get a no. Big deal, nobody knows about it, you don't have to tell anyone. And best case scenario, you get signed and it can be your career. The reason that I really encourage everyone to try is because it totally changed my life, and like I explained in my story, modeling was never something I considered seriously until later, and I wasn't even the one that applied. It totally changed my life. I have so many amazing opportunities now because of that, and I just encourage anyone to try, even if you think that it won't work out. You never know until you try. That concludes this week's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. I have tons more video ideas about modeling that are coming up, and I plan to film those soon. But if you have any more questions, please feel free to DM me or leave them in the comments below. All of my social media is in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. Shoot your shot, seriously. Bye guys, see you next Wednesday.